Technology. To blockchain or not to blockchain? That is the question. Grassroots economics, when they first set out to create the community inclusion currencies, they first were actually printing paper as the original vouchers, and they integrated some security measures to these printed papers. In 2015, they shifted to fully digital. By using USSD SMS software, they've been able to distribute a lot more vouchers and have a stronger sense of accountability and save a lot of money in terms of printing. And in 2018, rather than depending on their own database that they had built in-house, they moved to POA blockchain. And this was, again, another moment to further legitimize the organization's alternative currency, the CICs. They really wanted a network of servers that would provide immutable accounting and resilience. In 2019, they moved to a different blockchain. In 2021, they moved to a different blockchain. And again, in 2022, they moved again to a different blockchain. They believe that blockchaining is the solution. They believe that this is the right pathway to create more secure, more legitimate, more protected alternative currencies. The OP team met with a few of grassroots economic software engineers, and they had a robust dialogue about the pros and the deltas related to using blockchain as the primary vector for their community inclusion currencies and for the development of an alternative currency. OP really appreciated this conversation, and our takeaway is that we need to further interrogate these pros and deltas related to using blockchain for the development of alternative currencies. We recognize some of the strengths are, so there's the legitimacy factor. It provides a higher level of security, accounting. Some of the drawbacks to using the blockchain is that it requires a lot of work, while on the other hand, there's so much that could be done in ways that we haven't even fully maximized or imagined around blockchain. For OP, we need to continue straddling between what is the best approach to developing an alternative currency, and we need to weigh blockchaining as an option within the broader inquiry around the most effective, equitable, and ecologically centered alternative currencies. E3 systems: centralized, decentralized, distributed, or something else.
The question of decentralized versus centralized currency systems came up again and again throughout our trip, and also relates back to the question of fragility, anti-fragility, vulnerability, and resilience. We've seen through our observation of the natural systems that resilience requires biodiversity. So from that standpoint alone, we can see the benefit of a decentralized system of currencies that have a strong rooting in place. We also saw that in achieving that, the currencies are able to circulate a sense of communal identity, a sense of trust, and to help strengthen the social fabric or even repair it where it's broken. However, we also saw that continually M-Pesa was being used alongside the Sarafu in order to supplement the community inclusion currencies, specifically so that people could get things that may not be available within their closed system. So in other words, exchange with the outside systems, with the bigger economy, with people who are further away and producing something different that you need is seen as not only valuable, but absolutely necessary to meet the needs of the people. In this sense, centralization of a currency allows for a maximum exchange amongst the maximum number of people over the biggest areas. So there's value also in a centralized currency. What this brings up from a design standpoint and what grassroots economics is looking at is how you create interoperability between different currencies. So in other words, the currencies can be different, but they can be exchanged on a common platform. And this is a technology question because to the greatest extent possible, that exchange of currencies between Kilifi and Kitui and Mukuru and other communities should be seamless. And from the user standpoint, something you don't even think about. So easy that you take it for granted. And this is a question of the back-end engineering of the technology platform that supports these different currencies. And this is something that was discussed in detail by the technical people within Grassroots and One Project. Youth youth in Kenya are stewards of country's techno future. The youth factor into this techno future in a few very specific ways. Of course, we know the youth are the future, but more practically speaking, as it relates to the position that Kenya is in, from a demographic standpoint, the youth are the majority. And in fact, the average Kenyan is about 20 years old, which means that they are a very young population and one that was born into the internet age and one that is more conversant with the different technological devices that characterize what will be the fourth industrial revolution, which is upon us already, which is a technology revolution. Kenya, because of its youthful population, is very well positioned to leverage the full value of technology in building its economic future. At the same time, the proportion of Kenyans who are youthful is huge. I think 70% are below the age of 25. Equipping them with the educational support necessary to participate in that techno future is a serious question. Have we evolved the educational curriculum so that it is well suited to the actual economic opportunities that this future will provide? This is a question for the national government, of course, but even for grassroots economics. In addition to creating vouchers which are technically able to operate, building the skills of the people and the understanding of the people who are meant to use them so that they take full advantage of those currencies, fully own them, and help to evolve them is a question of education. And so how to address that through programming is something that was discussed with grassroots economics and that they seem very keen to take on with greater intention and purpose.
Challenge of fully divesting from the national currency.
The grassroots economic solution, which is called Sarafu, and the different vouchers that are produced at a community level, relates to the shilling, which is the national currency of Kenya, in two ways. One, theoretically, and second, in practice. Theoretically, there should be really no relation in the sense that a fully functional alternative system based on Sarafu and these vouchers should be fully self-contained and allow people to undertake the full range of transactions to meet all their needs and wants. And that is indeed the aspiration of grassroots economics if their system was fully developed, both in terms of how you create a local voucher within a community that has maximal value and also create that exchange platform that allows for all of these various vouchers to be interoperable. Currently and in practice, that is not the case. People are still within these communities heavily reliant on the shilling. And in fact, the Sarafu is used more as a supplement and almost as a credit mechanism to be able to cover the shortfall that they have when they can't afford to purchase something fully with the shillings they have at hand. And so they use Sarafu or the local voucher as a credit obligation to supplement. And because it's accepted by the local service provider, selling whatever it is that they need, then it actually serves that function extremely well. And so even at that level, the community members see value in it. The observed reality is that some of them associate the core function of the voucher as that, which actually means they haven't seen the full potential and power of the voucher as conceived of by grassroots economics. And so addressing that gap in the practical use of it and also the perception of its value and the potential and the design intention is an area in need of continued work.